Breaking free from illusion is true spirituality. Today on Spiritual Awakening Radio, my name is James Bean of spiritualawakeningradio.com. This program is heard via YouTube and all of the podcast sites, apps, venues out there. Can individuals break free from the programming they never chose to begin with? Can they make the transition from the old to the new? Can they appreciate the value of a higher spirituality? Or will they remain stuck this time through during this incarnation? Breaking free from illusion is true spirituality. I begin with a reading from a book called the Kalasta, the Gnostic Canonical Prayerbook of the Mandaeans. Lots of mystic poetry readings to begin today's program. We'll hear from Ramdas and Kabir, the Sikh scriptures, many different sources. I'll explore the 8 limbs of yoga and many spiritual principles, the foundation of this spiritual path, this path of the masters. I wander about, searching after my soul, which is worth ages and worlds to me. I went and found my soul. What are all the worlds to me? A passage from the Canonical Prayerbook of the Mandaeans. From the Sikh scriptures of India about the value of this life and the purpose of this incarnation. It was for the sake of the God-conscious beings that our true Lord created this earth and began this play of death and birth. Something similar from the Baal, Shem of Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism. Whenever feeling downcast, each person should vitally remember, for my sake, the entire world was created. This is bordering on the poetic. It's from Julian P. Johnson, his great spiritual classic and textbook of Sant, The Path of the Masters. A garden of souls. I look out upon my garden vegetables, fruits, and flowers. In that garden are thousands of precious souls, kindred to myself, struggling by means of their tiny sparks of intelligence, striving always toward the light, each one slowly rising to something a little higher than itself. They are all ascending the scale of evolution. This phenomenon emphasizes the common brotherhood, the fundamental kinship between all living beings, including animals. It offers a sublime picture, this grand procession of all living forms slowly moving toward that far-off divine event spoken of by Tennyson. It is the best consummation of all evolution, when the last grain of dust shall enter the light of immortality. In the march of the ages, cycle after cycle, on every planet where human beings reside, the great masters are the light bearers of that world. Until the end of the ages, they will remain the friends and saviors of those who struggle toward the light. Julian P. Johnson. This is from Rumi. Once you have met a true human being, let him not disappear from the horizon of your heart. There are many similarities between the empirical scientific path of astronomy and the intuitive way of the mystics, how both explore space, inner and outer, during the dark hours before the dawn, how both have a lens they use to focus with in order to gaze into realms of subtle light from beyond what is normally perceived, and tune the cosmic radio dial, listening for faint signals or sounds coming from beyond, the cosmic static. The bigness of the known cosmos keeps on getting bigger. Actually, in truth, it is our awareness that is growing, seeing more and more of that which is. I find astronomy and mysticism have much in common. I listen to a lot of space-related podcasts, actually. Like Galileo discovering new worlds through the lens of his telescope, mystics have been trying to communicate to humanity for eons something quite similar. The reason why the contemplative state of being is still hidden from most of us is that, unlike Galileo's telescope, in order to look through this particular lens, the third eye or inner vision, we mustn't be stuck always focusing on the outward sensory impressions, but go in the opposite direction we are accustomed to, into inner space during contemplative meditation. Look through the lens of the third eye to access the world of within. Tune the inner radio dial, listening for the subtle inner sounds coming from beyond the silence. Kirpal Singh on successful meditation practice to explore the world of within or inner space at the third eye. He said, just uproot the attention from here and plant it there. It is simply a matter of withdrawing and gathering together the scattered attention. The whole thing depends upon your attention, or surat, as it is called, which is the outward expression of your soul. Wherever you keep it engaged or attached, those very thoughts will always be reverberating within you. As Yeshua once said, if your eye be single, your whole body shall be full of light. But there are a few skeptics that say, does it really mean that? Well, you know what? I have studied many Syriac, Aramaic-speaking mystics, and they exactly interpret that verse as about seeing spiritual realms and divine light with another kind of mind's eye or spiritual eye. It does mean that, according to the mystics of that Aramaic-speaking tradition of the Middle East. As the Buddha also said, with the divine eye which is purified and surpasses the human, a disciple surveys 1,000 worlds. From the mystic poetry of Kabir, the great mystic, from Songs of Kabir, verses culled by Rabindranath Tagore. Within this earthen vessel of the human body are bowers and groves, and within it is the Creator. Within this vessel are the 7 oceans and the unnumbered stars. The touchstone and the jewel appraiser are within, and within this vessel the eternal sounds, and the spring wells up. Says Kabir, listen to me, my friend, my beloved Lord is within. Repeating a name or names of God with love and devotion, or bhakti, called in the East Simran, or Manas Jap, or Zikr, is one of the key spiritual exercises used to cultivate love for God and to invoke the positive power in our daily lives, and to summon our attention and to direct it at the third eye center and that which lies within, making it possible to live a life of love. Simran is a mental repetition of a name of God done during meditation, and this spiritual practice is also done during available moments throughout the day and the night, when our mind is free, as a way to remember God all of the time, to make life itself an ongoing meditation of sorts, to bring spirituality into the day and the night, in between meditations. Says Sant Tukarama of Maharashtra, "Such is God's name that it heals the disease of the world. Whoever repeats the Lord's name while engaged in earthly duties remains ever in a blissful state of divine communion. One absorbed in the Lord's name, O Tuka, has truly attained liberation while living." More from the mystic poets, the classic Sants of India. If someone's mind tells him he's great, he has no real knowledge of God. He's got ego, not knowledge, that is clear. One day we'll realize that obstacles dissolve and plans come true only when God bestows His grace. Repeat the name, then take action. If your heart knows that God is the doer, you'll know success in an instant. That's from Sant Ramdas of Maharashtra, from his book of Das Bodh. There is no spirituality without spirit. This is a fascinating quote from Dayal Sahib from the Spiritual Seeker's Guide of the Dayalpuri Radhasoami Satsang. So long as you do not experience the withdrawal of spirit within you during meditation, this spiritual path is just a myth for you. To attain this experience, you have to perform the spiritual practices with full zest and fervor every day, as prescribed by a living master. Swamiji Maharaj, Sar Bachan Radhasoami poetry. Why flounder on this side of the eye focus? Peep into the opening of the third eye and cross over. Learn the technique from a master, dear friend. Without his help, this door will not open. Practice that technique with love and devotion, or bhakti. Conquer your mind and take your soul across into sahaj, the natural state of the soul. The soul will then advance with the help of Shabad, the sound current, to a place where a stream of nectar constantly flows. From the Principles of Sant Mat, which is one of the sections of the Padavali of Maharishi Mehi Paramahans, it says, lying, stealing, intake of intoxicating substances, adultery, and violence, including harming other beings, are the 5 sins to be avoided. Eating meat or fish is also considered to be a form of violence and should be avoided. The seekers of Sant Mat must abstain from these vices. More on the precepts, or the ethical foundation of Sant Mat, which provides one with the qualifications, the moral qualifications to apply for initiation, to learn the meditation practice from a living master. 1. Abstinence from alcohol and drugs or intoxicants. 2. Ahimsa, non-violence in thought, word, and deed, including in the area of diet, as in following a lacto-vegetarian diet, abstinence from meat, fish, poultry, and eggs. In Sant Mat, all masters have decried killing and meat-eating, said Sant Tulsi Sahib of Hathras in his spiritual classic, the Gat Ramayan. 3. Leading a truthful life. 4. Practicing non-stealing, an honest, ethical source of income. And 5. Loyalty to one's spouse. Also see the 7 laws of Noah, the Noahidic commandments, the 5 precepts, and the 8 limbs of yoga, fairly universal ethical precepts. The 8 limbs of yoga are a kind of stairway to heaven, a map of ascension. Living a low-karma, peaceful lifestyle, making it possible to concentrate and go within. Have quality meditation, quality concentration, and then eventual deep absorption in meditation, leading to bliss or enlightenment. The 8 limbs of yoga, according to the yoga system of the East, and this applies to Hinduism, Sikhism, Sant Mat, Buddhism, Jainism. Pretty universal. These precepts, ethical precepts, and the 8 limbs of yoga. The 8 limbs of yoga are yamas. Number 1, yamas, social restraints and moral codes. 2, niyamas, observances, rules, and guidelines. 3, asanas, or yogic postures or poses. 4, pranayama, the use of breath. 5, pratyahara, withdrawal. 6, dharana, or quality of concentration. 7, dhyana, another term, an Eastern term for meditation. And 8, samadhi, absorption in meditation to the degree that one attains bliss or enlightenment. More about the number 1, the yamas, the 5 ethical guidelines regarding moral behavior towards others. 1, ahimsa, nonviolence towards others, often cited as an argument for choosing a vegetarian diet or vegan diet. 2, satya, or truthfulness. 3, not stealing. 4, chastity, whether this means celibacy or simply controlling ethically one's sexual impulses, is open to interpretation. Monks or sadhus live an even stricter lifestyle than householders. And 5, not coveting. The niyamas, 5 ethical guidelines regarding moral behavior towards oneself. 1, satya, or cleanliness. 2, santosha, contentment within one's self. 3, tapas, sustained practice. 4, self-study or introspection, self-analysis. And 5, surrender to God. More spiritual principles. This is from Maharishi Mehi, the Padavali. Consider the following as the requirements to attain liberation. Trust and belief in the divine, commitment to seek the divine within, devotion to a spiritual master, listening to the teachings of the spiritual discourses or satsangs, including study of the teachings of the saints or sants and the scriptures, and finally, diligent meditation practice. Maharishi Mehi from the Padavali. From the Satsang discourses of Baba Ram Singh about breaking free from illusion. It is that same Maya or illusion which is manifested in various illusions that we are all entangled in, says Baba Ram Singh. That is why the masters teach Maya is that mirage. It is not there, and it is just what we are believing and what we are imagining to be, but which is not real. So, it is the same thing, that Maya has deluded us, and everything that we are finding so interesting, so captivating, and which we have developed so much liking for, are all different manifestations of Maya. It is the circus of Maya that is going on. And at some point, we have to leave all of this and go away. So therefore, masters awaken us and tell us, this is not permanent. You will have to leave all of this behind. While you're going about your life, you should continue to look at all of these things as your duties in this world. But stay steadfast in your love and devotion of your master. Swamiji Maharaj says, there is only one way to get out of this delusion, out of this attachment of Maya, and that is by doing the meditation upon the Nam given by the masters and contemplating on the form of the masters. Only with that you will be able to cut across this delusion and cut across these attachments that you are entangled in. Swamiji Maharaj at the end says, I have explained all of this. You should spend your time to search for that holy sound current which is resonating within. You should make your efforts to search and manifest that holy sound current. Baba Ram Singh, that holy sound current is very pure, it is very sublime, and when the mind gets connected with that holy sound current, it also becomes pure and becomes sublime. It is like the philosopher's stone which converts iron into gold. Like that, when the mind comes into contact with the holy sound current, it also becomes pure. Radhasoami. Excerpted from a Satsang discourse, January 1st, 2024, by Baba Ram Singh. You are the victor over death who ferries the jiva souls across the impassable realm of matter. Omniscient consciousness, quintessence of light, ineffable and beyond reckoning is your state. The mind cannot conceive of you. You are without beginning and without end. O protector of the lowly ones, most merciful Supreme Lord, self-existent, bestower of light, Somanath has contemplated upon your lotus feet. Unceasingly he will sing your praises. Free all the jiva souls from the desires and afflictions of this world. Ferrying me across the physical, astral, and causal realms, lead me into that region of Par Brahm, in the spiritual pool of the lake of nectar, in the region of the void, let me bathe in those purifying waters so that I may become immaculate and whole. From the bhajans of Baba Somanath, Mystic Poetry, Bhajans. From the Kalasta, the Gnostic Canonical Prayerbook of the Mandaeans, full circle we come, both in life, in eternity, and during this poem. Second time I'm reading this amazing poem from the Canonical Prayerbook. I wander about, searching after my soul, which is worth ages and worlds to me. I went and found my soul. What are all the worlds to me? Wrapping up today's edition of Spiritual Awakening Radio, a couple of prayers. I'm going to do a podcast sometime soon on prayer and Sant Mat. I remember back in the early days of the World Wide Web, someone was saying, Sant Mat doesn't believe in prayer. And then I remembered purchasing this 4-volume set known as the Adi Granth in its entirety, the entire Adi Granth, which is filled with prayers. And I said, nope, that's not true. That's not correct. There are a lot of prayers by the Sants in the tradition of Sant Mat. And I should do a podcast on that one of these days. Prayer and Sant Mat. What kind of prayers? What kind of examples do we find in the vast literature of the Sants of India when it comes to the subject of prayer? There's a lot there. I'll do a podcast on that. But a couple of prayers to wrap up today's Spiritual Awakening Radio, this Sant Mat Satsang podcast. This first one is from the Brahm Nirupan of Kabir. O ocean of love, you are in the form of inner experience, and you are immutable. You are in the form of knowledge and the giver of liberation. You are in the form of wisdom, and you are imperishable. You are the ocean of bliss, and you are free of the limitations of time. You are immortal. Heartfelt salutations to you. A prayer found in the Brahm Nirupan from the people of the Anurag Sagar, the same Sant Ramdas literature, which you'll often hear quoted during this podcast, as I am very mindful of the lineage of the masters before Sant Tulsi Sahib, going back many generations, like quoting from that literature quite often. And finally, this is from the Kabir Book of Prayers, published by the Kabir Association, also the Dharamdas Kabir Panth literature. O ocean of love, through your merciful glance, shower such mercy on us that we will be absorbed in your true love. Absorbed in your true love. Breaking free from illusion is true spirituality. Thanks for listening to today's edition of Spiritual Awakening Radio.